many of the techs have run into this lately, starting in the year 2006 on GMCs and GMs, Yukons, Suburbans, and some trucks, the peeling problem on the steering wheels. And these can be kind of difficult to do if you're trying to coat them. You have to mask over the buttons, we have to mask over the edge of the steering wheel, priming and other things that have to get done, and maybe a couple coats of color, usually using an airbrush because the coating is so smooth on these that you can't really use a pre-valve with too much success. It'll look a lot different than the other side of the steering wheel. So we have another system that we've come up with which is very simple. The prep that you do, it can be similar to when you actually paint them, either with a SEM color or with another water-based color. But this situation that we have is a little bit easier. It's just a laminate, just like we have the laminate for the buttons to put the graphics back on. This laminate also will run over this whole section and make it look like new. Now what we have here, as you notice on this side, this is peeling. So just use a little bit of sandpaper to smooth it out, and actually this is 320 grit. And the advantage that we have using this laminate is that we don't have to get quite as careful with our sanding. When you're sanding this to refinish it, you do have to usually sand down at least to 600, sometimes a little bit finer. But with the graphic that we're going to put over this, with the vinyl laminate that we're going to place over this, what will happen is it'll cover a little bit of those scratches. You won't really see that as much. Okay, so now we have it sanded, and what I did with this is I just used a regular 320 grit on this, and it was able to feather out that edge for me. Now normally that wouldn't be enough with paint, but because we're putting a laminate over it, that's going to be just fine. Now if you have the trouble of something that wants to continue peeling, then Superior Restoration sells some plastic primer. You could use that over it to make the peeling stop and then sand it down, maybe down to 600. But the point is, this is really quick. We didn't take much time. I took about a minute or two to sand this down. We didn't want you guys to fall asleep watching the video. So when you clean this using either silicone wash or some type of alcohol, whatever you use to clean with, you do want to make sure to get all the way over to the edge with your cleaner. Wipe it real nice. You have to remember you're going to put a laminate on here that's going to wrap around into that edge on the steering wheel. So here we have the laminate that we're going to be using to repair this peeled steering wheel. And this laminate has a very intense adhesive on the back. What you're going to do with this is you're going to peel it off and flip it over on its back. This is wax paper I'm peeling it off of right now. You don't want to stretch this when you peel it off, so be nice to it as you peel. Okay, just lay this down. Okay, so I'm gonna spray lightly, just a little bit of application fluid on the surface of what I'm going to fix here. I can bring my graphic and lay it on there. And now if it does get stuck anyway, like you think you didn't put enough application fluid, like right now it seems a little dry to me, I'm just gonna add a little bit more application fluid, both surfaces, until I can get it to move around for what I need. So, center it on here. Get one side where I like it, and then I can lift up this other side. Doesn't hurt anything. Center it here. Needs to go in there a little bit. Now what I want to do is press out whatever fluid's in there. In fact, sometimes you can just use the rag you use to clean with, you could actually use to kind of press down nice and hard. Your fingers tend to get too much adhesion on the surface of the vinyl, so you can actually use this way to press out the little wrinkles and so on. And that fluid's helping you to make this possible. Okay? So you don't want to get any tight wrinkles and you leave them in there. Once we get the heat on here, we'll start to be able to work that around. And then if you do get a section like this that's a little bit feisty, you could lift it up and go ahead and place it back down again. Now we're going to get some heat on it. You see some wrinkles here and there. Okay, so now to finish up, you notice we have some wrinkles up in this area. We have, this is still floating. Some things still need to be put down. So with a heat gun and a small brush, I'll be able to take care of this really quickly. So first of all, you start to heat your areas that need to go down, that need to stick down better. Use your brush, your finger to lay those wrinkles down. I'm actually going to come up behind this guy with the heat gun to make sure that this back here gets put down correctly. Okay. Now while the application fluid is still a little bit wet, you're going to have a little bit of where it can move around a little bit still if you wanted it to. So it'll take probably a few hours till the application fluid completely goes away. Now check these out. This is one of these concave areas. We're gonna, so what we call a compound curve here. Okay, heat it a little bit. You don't need to stay too long with the heat gun, just long enough. That floats over there real nice. Okay, same on these edges. You can make sure they're down. Heat. Okay. Same thing in here next to the airbag. Use your finger, use your brush. Put this down as you go. Okay, see how that heat affects that right away? Okay, you can see that application fluid as I push, it's sort of coming out the edges a little bit there. You might not be able to see it on the video. But this stuff, once it's on there, really sticks. And as you can see up here, you can't see anything where I sanded, can you? It's all gone. It's completely smooth. Maybe we can zoom in on this area right here and see what we have there. Meanwhile, I'll continue to go down here at the bottom. Could do this with a hairdryer if you don't have a heat gun, but heat gun, if you can get it at 350 exactly, it seems to be the most effective. Okay, let's see, let me turn this wheel up while I'm doing this bottom, maybe you can see better. We'll refocus the camera. Okay, if you have any areas that are kind of bending like this, kind of getting wrinkles there, you can just go ahead and keep heating it. That helps the vinyl to move like you want it to. Okay, so finally we'll just get this edge tucked in. Okay, you see we got rid of all, there were little air bubbles here and there. We got rid of those real quick. And that's it. So here we have the steering wheel's done. It's all on there. In about an hour, this will be permanent. It can't peel off after that. And this job takes under 10 minutes to do, from sanding it to putting the graphic on. Much less time than it normally takes to actually mask and put multiple coats of primer and refinish. Thanks for watching.